Heaven knows she is irreplaceable.
That is so good. Yo! So today's video is going to be a short, sharp, sweet one. I'm going to talk about the 5 tools that I personally think you absolutely need if you're going to start working on or modifying your car. Now obviously this list is not exhaustive and there are many more tools out there that you probably will end up needing or using at some point in time, but these are the 5 that I used as soon as I started and found the most helpful and necessary when it came to maintaining and modifying the Integra. So let's get to it. At number 1, this is an absolute must, a good socket set. Now this isn't just a socket set, it's a mechanic's toolkit. So, absolute must. This is the bare minimum, in my opinion. You just really shouldn't bother trying if you don't have one of these. So this set is pretty neat. It's got a big 1/2-inch drive. This is used for your big papa bolts that may need a little extra persuasion. So that's good, and it goes all the way down to a 1/4 inch, which helps you get into those hard to reach areas and for use on really small, lightly torqued bolts. But it also comes with spanners, and it comes with a screwdriver set and Allen keys. Now these are absolutely essential. No matter what you do, even if it's replacing your battery, you'll need to unscrew the terminals, and for that you'll need a spanner of some sort or a socket of some sort. Basically, everything in a car is held together by fasteners, and most of those fasteners are nuts and bolts. And that's where these come in. It's also got deep sockets over here. It's got a few extensions too. It's got a spark plug tool. You need them for your spark plugs. I ended up going through a few of Dad's cheap socket sets before just buying my own really good set, which hasn't failed me once in the past 4 years I've owned this. Number 2 on today's list is a low profile jack and a set of jack stands. Anything that requires you to get under the car, requires the car to be in the air and safely supported. You're better off getting a low profile jack that can handle a lot of weight if you plan on lowering your car at all. And to go with this, you absolutely need jack stands. I can't stress this enough. You're paying $80 as a life insurance policy in essence. It's so cheap relative to the return you're getting, because if your jack fails and that's the only thing supporting your car while you're underneath it, that's some serious injury or potentially a fatality there. So you know, for a few bucks, $80, it's relatively cheap to get a set of jack stands that you slide underneath the jacking points of your car as soon as it's lifted. I personally keep the jack underneath to support it, and I also have the jack stands, and I usually also put tires underneath the car if I'm going underneath it. So that's got 3 points of support, you know, and if one of those give out, then the other 2 are there, and vice versa. So this is important. If you're getting underneath the car, you don't just get a jack, you get jack stands to go with it. Moving on to number 3, a breaker bar and WD-40. Now I know these are 2 tools, but I've decided to clump them together because they both essentially achieve the same thing, which is breaking those tough bolts loose. Okay, so this is your typical 3/8 ratchet, which is probably the most common ratchet most people would have sitting in their garage. And this is a breaker bar. Look at that size difference. Torque is force multiplied by distance, and the distance here is far greater than the distance here, which means you're gonna get a lot more torque out of a breaker bar. Now these things are incredible. I think I got this for like 20 or 30 bucks, and it has saved my life many a time. You definitely need one of these when working on your car. I found that it's perfect for lug nuts, for getting them on initially before torquing them to spec, and perfect for suspension parts. When I was doing my coilovers, my control arms, even parts of my exhaust that had stubborn bolts, I had to use the breaker bar. Yeah, essentially every time I've touched a bolt underneath the car, the breaker bar has come in very, very handy. And a breaker bar coupled with some WD-40, almost unstoppable. You basically soak your bolts or your nuts in a bit of WD-40, let the liquid penetrate the corrosion or just the years of grime that's built up in it, and then crack it with this, and you are good to go. Of course, there will be some bolts that require more than just one of these or some penetrating fluid. You may need to use heat, or you may need to just drill a bolt out eventually, and I've only ever had to do that once. Every other time I've had a tough bolt, breaker bar, and WD-40. It doesn't have to be WD-40, it can be any penetrating fluid you have lying around the house. Number 4, a multimeter. Now, my very first modification on the Integra was a subwoofer and a head unit install. And for that, I relied on a test light. So a test light measures the amount of voltage running through the circuit, and essentially if it's got 12 volts, the light will light up. Now that was fantastic because you basically turn the key from the off position to the accessory and the on, and you'd see when current would be going through which wire, and you can determine which wire is which. You absolutely need it if you're going to do any form of electrical work on your car. Now you can use it. Sorry, it's my dog. Now you can use a test. Shut up, bro. My gosh. You can make do with the test light, like I did, but a multimeter is much more versatile. You can measure both current and voltage, and it doesn't just tell you when the wire's got 12 volts, it tells you exactly the voltage running through or the current running through. So it's a lot more versatile, it's a lot more handy, but you can use a test light if you need. If you have alternator issues, if you have battery issues, just bust this out, run it across the terminals, run it across the alternator, see if it's charging, see if your battery's got enough charge in it, so forth. Basically anything electrical, multimeter or a test light, absolutely vital. My dog doesn't seem to care that I'm making a YouTube video right now. You're so cute. How are you so cute? Skedaddle. Okay, the final item on the list, lighting. So I've got this and a set of standing floodlights. Now this has helped me so much over the past 4 years. I work under my car a lot at night, and in winter it gets dark at like 4:30, and light is essential. No matter what you're doing, you need to see what you're doing, especially when you're trying to get those hard to reach areas, or you're trying to get a socket onto a bolt and need to see the exact angle. You need light. So whatever it is you're doing, you want good visibility. One of these little portable rechargeable. Yo, he just opened the door and walked out. You're a little pest. I love you. So this one can be loosened and just like placed at any angle on the floor, and you can tighten it back up. It's also got a hook like that, and so what I do is I usually hang that on one of the holes in my bonnet if I'm working on the engine. So it's very versatile. You just plug it back into a wall to charge it. Let me show you guys my floor standing floodlights because they're really powerful too. So these are my floor standing floodlights. You know, together these lights weren't actually too expensive, especially considering they've lasted me almost half a decade. And they've been vital to the work I've put into my car. I figured these were also a worthy investment because I film a lot for Gutter Ash, so you know, it made sense to be able to see what I'm doing and for you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. You just flick it on and they are so powerful. Yeah, they are really bright. Well, there you have it, guys. That's my take on the 5 most essential tools you can have to start working on or modifying your car. Like I said, this list is not exhaustive. Everyone will have slightly different opinions. So if you already do work on or modify your car, comment down below, let me know what you think the 5 essential tools to begin working on your car are. And if you're just starting out or you know, using lockdown as an excuse to finally get started on doing stuff yourself, these tools will help you a lot. There are also other tools that you may end up using and that you will end up needing, but these 5 will set you up. So all the best if you're about to start modifying or working on your own car. That's what Gutter Ash is all about, and I hope you guys do end up following that path. And if you're already working on your car and doing stuff like I do as an amateur hobbyist, good on you. I respect that. I had a few more videos planned for these holidays, but now we're in lockdown again and it's illegal to do them. So I don't know what the next few weeks are gonna hold, and that's partially why I made this video where I just sat down and chat with you guys for a bit. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Like, comment, everything helps. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. That is so good.
You say you got them guns, but I've never seen you bang. You say you got them drugs, but I've never seen